You know, I just love a piece of homemade bread slathered with butter. And in this case, it's toast, so even better. Now, I usually keep butter in my refrigerator stick, but the rest of it I keep in the freezer because that promotes longevity for storage. But what would happen if you didn't have refrigeration? Do you have alternatives for butter in your food pantry? Well, stay tuned for my suggestions of butter substitutes to add to your food storage. Hey, my resilient citizens, this is Prepper Potpourri, and I have another food storage tip video for you. Now click on the subscribe button below if you're not a subscriber, and on the bell icon if you want to receive future video alerts. On with the show. Last year, our refrigerator died, and it was a built-in, so it took over 6 months to get a new refrigerator and get it installed because of the pandemic. Now, we weren't totally without refrigeration. We did get a used refrigerator and put it in our garage, but it was a real hassle every time we wanted butter. We had to run out to the garage in the winter. So I started using something I've had for a long time. It's called a butter bell, and it's like a butter crock. Inside here is where the butter goes. So you place the butter in there, and then you put water up to the indicated level, cold water, and then this goes in here, and you can keep it on your shelf for 30 days or more, as long as you're good about replacing the water with new cold water every 3 days or so. It works out really great. So if you don't have one, you might want to consider getting one. Now this is red feather real butter. And I mean, it's a pretty good size can. It's 12 ounces of real butter, and it is only composed of 2 ingredients: pasteurized cream and salt. No preservatives whatsoever. Yet it will keep on your shelves for 10 years. Now it is rather expensive. I noticed on Amazon now you could get 6 of these 12-ounce cans for $66. So you're going over $10 a can. But it tastes like real butter because it is real butter. It is really, really good. And it's great to use for camping or somewhere else that you need shelf-stable butter. Now, I've done a whole video on this. This is Trader Joe's shelf-stable whipping cream. That's right, doesn't have to be refrigerated. Keeps for 6 months on the shelf. And it is great to have on hand because I'm one that generally doesn't have cream in my refrigerator, right? But I can use this and whip up some cream. But it also makes delicious butter. I have done that, and it is so good. Look at my hands. Here's the amount of buttermilk left that you can use in a recipe. So this was kind of fun, and we actually did make butter from it, and tastes good. And you know, by making butter this way, you can decide how much salt you want, and it's really, really good. Now, this is great for shelf stable, but if you really had no refrigeration at all, you really do need about 6 hours in cool temps before you try whipping it. Otherwise, it won't whip well. But of course, if you live in a colder environment, you may be able to have that on your deck. But I always keep some of the Trader Joe's whipping cream on hand. And it's reasonable. I think it's like $1.39 or something for one of these. Well, I think you're all familiar with this. This is ghee, or clarified butter. Basically what happens is the milk solids are taken out and you're left with kind of a semi-solid butter oil. But this can be used in recipes and on toast and has a long, long shelf life. Once you open it, it can last for 6 months or longer at room temperature. So Great thing to have on hand. And there are plenty of videos out there how you can make your own ghee. Now, some of you may have lard that keeps at room temperature for at least 6 months. I myself save up bacon fat, and I use this in a lot of recipes. In fact, let's say you're making a pot pie and the crust, instead of butter, use some bacon grease. It gives it that extra bacony flavor, and who doesn't love bacon? So this is a great thing to also keep on hand, and hey, it's free. You just drain it when you're making bacon. I just sift it through a paper towel, and then it comes out nice and white and pure. Now, butter Crisco is something else you might want to keep on hand. If it's unopened, it'll keep on your shelves for 2 years, 6 months after opening. But you can use this in any baking recipe that butter is called for, and use it in a 1-to-1 ratio. And it has 50% less saturated fat than butter and 0 trans fat per serving. So if you're watching those, this is a good butter replacement. Now, I don't have any on hand, but you might want to buy number 10 cans of dehydrated butter powder. You can keep that for up to 10 years on your shelves, and you just add water to make butter. I also don't have any right now butter buds. I couldn't find them at the store last time I looked, but I keep those because it's great to make like a buttery sauce, but it's not butter, right? You just add these to some water and you have a great butter flavoring. And they're great to sprinkle on baked potatoes or anything like that. Now, talking about sprinkling, this is butter flavored popcorn seasoning. And it's a great alternative to using butter, but you can also use this on your baked potato or other veggies if you want a buttery taste. And again, this has a longer shelf life. Now, finally, maybe you just want that butter flavor. You can buy butter flavoring extract. So maybe you got regular Crisco or lard, but you want a butter flavor, just add a little bit of this. So again, completely shelf stable, really great to have on hand. Now, I started out with toast, right? And we all know that there are alternatives to butter. I could put peanut butter on this, that would be good. Or some of the homemade jams that I made in last August, jamboree, that would be delicious too. But for cooking, that might not be an alternative. But often you can use applesauce or maybe mashed bananas in recipes. So that's something to consider also. But I have to ask, do you have alternatives to butter in your long-term storage? Comment below. And as always, thank you so much for your support.